All right, so I have here a cylinder. This is from a what is 286. That means it's a the 300, this CBR or CB300 series, not the CB250 or CRF250. All right, there's that. So the piston rings here. It is right there. Ooh, look at that, made in Japan. And also have my little forged piston here. This right here is this right here is a JE, right? JE pistons. The compression ratio is not that high. Let me see, where is it at? Bore stroke, rod length, compression height. What the hell's the compression ratio? Shoot, it doesn't say it on here. So anyways, this one is not that high though, because they have, there's different brands with different compression ratio. I bought the one with the lower compression ratio because, because this compression ratio is meant so that when you put it in it's meant for the 250, right? Just like it says on this box here, so CBR 250. So on the CBR 250, the stock compression ratio, and this is actually also true with the CB 300, both the 250 and the 300, the compression ratio stock is, I believe, oh geez, what was it again? It was, I think it was 10.7, if I can remember right, about 10.7. And this piston ratio here, for the stock 250, I believe it raises it up to about 11, maybe 11 and a half, somewhere around there. I forget exactly what it was. But anyways, but if I put this on the 300 engine, it actually raises it up even more than that, because the 300 has a longer stroke. The bore is the same, but the stroke is longer. So this piston will actually raise up higher, so it compresses even more. So I did the math on this before when I did a big bore kit on my CB300F. But I can't remember exactly what it was, but if I can remember off the top of my head, it's going to raise the compression ratio up to about 12 or 12.2 or 12.3, something like that. Is less than 12 and a half compression ratio. So that should be fine for considering that it's a stock. Everything is stock except for the piston, right? So it should be fine because the ignition timing is for these bikes, it's not that advanced, so you don't have to worry about having too advanced of ignition timing and having having problems in that situation. So before I do anything, I actually have to double check everything and measure everything to make sure everything actually fits okay. So let's see. I need to check I should check the rings on here, but I shouldn't need to do anything with the rings on the piston. That should be already done for you already. So here's the oil divider. Let's see, there should be 2 oil rings, which is these ones right here. These are the 2 thinner ones. So this this sandwiches these 2, right? So I'll set those aside, and these other 2, one is going to be a top ring, and one's going to be the bottom ring, compression ring. Let's see if I can remember right. The one with the curve on the edge that's rounded on the outside edge here is the top ring. No, the curve is the top ring. The one with the square edge here is the bottom ring. So this one is actually, looking at it, this one looks curved to me right here, versus this one right here, it's very square. I can feel it. Just running my hands through, I can actually feel it. So this is the bottom ring right here. This is the top ring. Okay, so the top ring, that's actually a top side and a bottom side. Let's see if we can see it. There should be a mark on here. Man, my eyes are not what they used to be. I have old man eyes now, so it's hard to see everything. So that's usually like a little marking, but this one doesn't show it. Let's see, this one, yeah, so this one shows right here. There's a little marker here that says N. So that usually means the top, but this top ring doesn't have that. So I have to actually look at so I know that this is the top because the outside edge here is a little slightly curved. So I know that's the top. Since I can't tell which side is the actual, which way it's facing, is it facing like this on the piston or is it like this on the piston? What you could do is you can actually look at the inside edge here. The inside edge on one side, it has a little bit of a, what do they call it? Chamfer. And the other side is not. The other side is more square. So I have to look at that. And it's very minor, so it's very difficult to tell. Usually you can kind of feel it, but this one, it's so small that I can't tell. Let me see. I got to tell which side's which. I think this side is the top. This side feels more rounded. Just looking at with my eyeballs, it's so, again, because I don't have young eyes anymore. Yeah, I don't have 20-year-old eyes anymore, so it's like really difficult for me to see which side is which. Let me look at this side. See if I can tell. So I think this edge right here is the bottom edge. Just by feel, it feels a little. This edge right here feels a little bit rounder, and this edge over here feels a little bit sharper. So the sharper edge is the bottom edge, and the rounder edge is the top. So it sits like this and not like this. Okay, so I have that. So I know that's the top. This one, the end, that should be the top. If you're not sure how it sits, the bottom actually, it isn't really square. It's more square than the top ring, but the top ring is actually at the edge here is actually curved like that. Whereas this one, it's straight, but it's straight like, and it has a certain angle to it. Okay, so wherever that angle is, let's say the angle is like this, straight angle like this, that means where it flares out, that's the bottom side. So where it tapers up is in on the top is with the top side. So this one, I think this is the bottom side, and this one's the top. So it kind of feels like I actually sort of kind of see it too. See that angle. So if this side is the top up here, assuming this side's the bottom, and this means this side's the top. Let me look on this side. If it's the same or not. Yeah, I think now this side is the top and this side's the bottom. So this side's the bottom, right? Yeah, so this side's the bottom. Oh, the end is on the bottom. I thought it was on the top. Maybe I'm just remembering. I haven't done this in so many years that I kind of don't remember. But also the inside here, there's a difference as well. The inside here, usually there's a little bit of a taper as well. Let's see. And on the inside, the taper side is the side that points down. Oh man, this one doesn't have a taper. This one, both edges are pretty hard. I can't really tell. Man, I can't barely tell the difference. Let's see. Yeah, so minute I can't barely tell. Actually, you know what? I see a taper here. On the inside, I see this angle like this. At least I think I see that angle like that. That's what it looks like to me. And this top side, it looks like, man, it's just too hard to tell. Anyways, I'm gonna set that one aside. So I know this one up here is the top, right? Let's see. And this one's kind of hard to tell too. But you know, every ring manufacturer is a little bit different. But there should, it shouldn't be perfectly square though. There should be certain shapes and such on these. But usually it's the inside edge that would tell you. The inside edge, the side that has the chamfer for the top ring is the top side. I have old man eyes now, so I can't. It's very difficult for me to see. I think this is the bottom, and that's the top. It feels more rounded up here. So the rounded side is on the inside here. The side that's more camphor, that has a camphor, that has a bevel. It's the top side. Like I sort of kind of see it too. I can see with the light. It's like the reflection of the light along that, because it has a little bit of a camphor. That little edge reflects a little bit compared to the other edge, compared to this edge here and the perpendicular edge here. So that 45, or close to 45 edge has its own little light reflection. So it looks like this side. Well, actually this side has it too. So whichever side is the bigger side. This side's a little bit different though. Man, they both look almost the same. Let's see. Anyways, so let's move on for now. I need to look at this in daylight instead of under the kitchen light right now. So everything is dry right now. I'm gonna use some engine assembly lube. Everything's dry. Use some engine assembly lube, and just smear a little bit. Make sure your hands are clean. Just smear a little bit on the sidewall there. I haven't used this thing in a long time, so it seems kind of. So this is kind of like a grease almost. It's a moly graphite, right? Molybdenum. Usually that's what you want when you're putting together an engine. You want to use a lot of molybdenum. So I'm just gonna smear this on here all the way around. And graphite is also a lubricant. Graphite is actually a dry lubricant, or you could use it as a dry lubricant. It doesn't necessarily have to be wet, but still essentially what this is it's a break-in grease is what it is. So you want to lightly coat this, so when I put the ring down in here, it won't the ring won't scratch up my surface too much. That's that half. And to do the top half here. So this is an open deck, as you can see. An open deck is just more cost effective. It doesn't it costs less to manufacture. So that's why a lot of companies like to use the open deck. I'm wondering if this could hold up to the pressures of the high compression. It should. Now I've done this before, increase the compression before. The first time I did this, I used a stock 250 engine on a 350 because it does because of the longer stroke. Using the 250 engine, it actually creates a higher compression ratio. But the stock piston, it's just it's cast and it's not very strong, so that piston actually blew up. The piston actually broke apart. Whereas then I tried this on the one without. So let's see. Let me just stick this in. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So let me put it this way. Just gonna stick this in like so. So I'm gonna use the piston here to push it down, so that way it stays nice and square. All right. Actually, I think I pushed it down a little bit too far there. I should have measured from the top. So first, let me push this down about halfway. Then there's several parts you want to measure, but the halfway point is probably the most. It's kind of like the average, because you really can't measure it, because different parts of the piston will give you different readings. So I'm just gonna push this straight down. I'm just gonna pull it out and eyeball it, see how deep I am. So I'm about, I'm not quite halfway yet. Almost halfway. I'm gonna push it down a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm about halfway there. Let's see. So I think I'm about, no, not quite halfway, almost. So a little bit more. Stuck my thumb in both sides. I could kind of feel the difference, the distance right there. Okay, that's about halfway. That's close enough. You don't even have to be exactly halfway. So from there, there's the ring gap, right? So this is the top ring. The top ring gap is depending on, here's my gapping tool here. Depending on what the application is. So this is going to be for street, right? So street application is going to be about 5 thousandths, 005. Not 5, yeah, that's right, 005. So that's 005 right there. That's what you want, 005. I'm just going to kind of bent, and let's see if I can stick it in there. Okay, so it's good. 005, this actually might be even bigger than that. Let me try a 6 thousandths. It's even bigger than that. Let me try 7. Just want to make sure what it is. Still bigger than that. Let's try 8. Still bigger. 8, 9. Getting very close. Let's go with a 10,000 then. Wow, this is really big. Usually you don't want a gap to be that big, at least not for street use. So let's go with 11,000. Might even be bigger than that. It might be 12,000 even. Let's see. That's still bigger. 11. 12,000 on that. Yep. Still bigger. And this is way bigger than I had anticipated. Let me try a 15. Let's jump to a 15. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. 15 is a little bit on the tight side. It doesn't go all the way in. It partially goes in. It goes in about halfway, and it kind of stops. So that tells me that the piston ring gap there, the end of the ring gap, when it comes together, it's not parallel. It's kind of like this, because the inside part is a little bit bigger than the outside end. So ideally you want it to be pretty much as parallel as you could get it, but I think it's probably only, so the 15 went in the first half. Let's see if the 14 could go in the second half. Because 14 could go in the second half, that's probably fine. It's only 1,000 of a difference. That should be okay. So this is the 14 right here, 14,000. Okay, so 14,000 does not go in all the way either. So 14 doesn't go all the way in. Didn't I try a 13 already? 13, yeah, 13 goes all the way in. Nice snug fit too at the end. Yeah, that's a snug fit at the end. It's possible there's a 12 even at the end there. At the very edge, right where the cylinder actually is. Yeah, so it's like a 12, 13. Let's see how big this outside is. I mean the inside. See if a 16 would fit, 16 or even a 17. Oh wait, 16. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, 16 will barely just go in, just barely. So it does have somewhat of an angle. So this is a 17. Nope, 17 doesn't fit. Okay, so it is somewhat like this. So the very edge of the opening, it's 16, and the very end here is 12. So that's a difference of 14. Excuse me, 4,000th of an inch. Looking at it by eyeball, I can actually even see a slight taper to that. So ideally, like I said, you don't want it to be like that. You want it to be parallel, but the gap is so big that you know, I'm not gonna make it parallel, because if I make it parallel, that means I have to open up. So that means the other end has to be even bigger. So I don't want to do that. It's already bigger than it needs to be. You know, for street use, 5 thousandths should be good. You know, yeah, 5 thousandths should be fine. So that's the middle way. Since I'm already, let me push this thing down towards the top. It should be about 10 millimeters or so from the top. Let's see what this one shows. So that was at 17, right? Earlier it didn't fit. Nope, doesn't fit. 17. Let's try a 15. 15 is about halfway. Let's try that 12 again. 12. Yep, 12 fits all the way in. Let's try the 13. So it hangs up just a little bit at the very edge, the very end of that edge of that gap. Okay, so the good thing is that the gap is still the same, even up here at, you know, within 10 millimeters at the top compared to the middle. So that's good. That's a good sign. So let's go all the way to the bottom, towards the bottom, about 10 millimeters away to the bottom. Yeah, so it's within 10 millimeters from the bottom. Probably a little smaller than 10 millimeters. So let's try that 12. Where's my gap? Try the 12. 12. I could fit the 12 just about it. You know, the 13 is not gonna fit. I could feel the 12. It's almost tight. Oh, the 13 actually made it in. Like I feel it tight there. I can feel it like stopping right there at the very edge. So that's a good sign. Let's try that 17 again. Yep, so 17 doesn't really want to go in. Let's try that 16. So 16,000. That definitely goes in. Okay, so the good thing is that it's consistent. So that's what I was looking for. So that's good. That's a very good sign that it's, you know, everything's consistent. So let me push this out. So 12 to 16, right? 12 to 16. Push it out, put this aside. That was the top ring. This thing is still a little oily. Maybe I should oil it a little bit more again, because I know that top ring has that break-in lube. Let's get this in here so I could have the bottom ring have some break-in lube as well. The good thing is that it's not too tight where I have to like file it, because man, when you file it by hand, it's hard to get it, you know, exactly precise what it needs to be. So that is difficult. Usually when you have a fresh brand new engine that you want to break in, you want to use a lot of oil that has a lot of moly in it. This moly is really good for that. To have break in an oil engine, you not have to worry about it. All right, so this one's the second one here. So I can't tell which side's which. You know, my eyes are just not what they used to be, so I'm just gonna stick this in here. It doesn't really matter because I'm just measuring the gap. Just put it this way, it'll pass. headlamp just went out of batteries. So I'm gonna go about within 10 millimeters of the top. Within 10 millimeters of the top. And we can measure the ring gap there. So the ring gap there should be larger. The bottom ring gap should always be larger than the top ring gap. So the bottom ring gap should always be larger than the top ring gap. So the top one was what? At the edge was 16, inside edge was 16, outside edge was 12. So let's try that. Let's try a 17. This way, 7. So this is a 17 right here. Oh, it fits. Oh, it fits all the way in. So that's good. That means this is the bottom ring, and the bottom ring should be bigger. So that's good. That's a good sign. So that means you don't have to file it bigger. So actually, let's see how big it actually is. This is a 20,000. Still fits. Try a 24,000. Oh, that's too tight. It goes into the inside edge, but not the outside. It didn't go in halfway actually. 23. Just makes it about halfway in. That's 23. Let's try 22. Okay, 22 made it to the edge. It's a tight fit too at the edge. There's no wiggle at all at the edge. So there's no wiggle at the edge. So it's a 22 at the edge. 22 at the edge, and what was it, 24 or whatever it is on the inside. Okay, that's fine. So I know because I measured the sleeve with the top ring at the top, middle, and bottom, and it's pretty much consistent. So I don't have to do that with the bottom ring. It should be, it should be consistent as well. So we should be good there. Let's bring this out. Let me bring it out from the bottom side. I want to bring it out from the bottom side because this side is it's kind of a hard edge right here. Whereas the bottom side, it has that taper, so it doesn't just expand real quick. The taper kind of helps ease it out, so it doesn't scratch anything. All right, so that's good there. All right, so now I need to check my oil rings. Actually, I don't even know what the clearance for the oil ring is. Obviously there's 2 oil rings. I don't recall the oil ring being different. I think they're both the same. There should be letters on here too, tell you which side's the top, which side's the bottom. This one does not. I don't see anything. I don't see any markings. Oops, on this. So I still see some grease in there, so I'm just gonna leave it there. Let's put this in here. That's my piston. Oops. Let's go halfway in, because I know my cylinder is pretty even or uniform, so I don't have to worry about where top, bottom, or whatever. Just gonna bring it in there. So that looks pretty tight. So let me go with a 15,000. It looks tighter than that. It looks like it's moved on me. Nope, that's definitely too tight. Is that right? Yeah, it's definitely too tight. Let's go with a 10,000. 10,000 fits. 10 fits. Try 12. 15 didn't fit, so 12. Oh, I think 12 is just about it. I can feel a little bit of resistance. So that's how big the top ring was, right? 12 on the inside. Let's try with my 13 at 12. Let's try 13. 13 fits as well. Okay, let's try a 14. I don't think a 14 is gonna fit. I think the 13 is about it. Jeez, my ring keeps on moving. Need to keep them even. Okay, I think 14 is it, because 15 didn't fit, right? 15 was too tight. So this one is actually parallel. It doesn't have a taper to it. Yeah, 15 doesn't fit. So it's a 14. Anyway, so this one has a taper to it. So that's actually a good thing. Well, excuse me, it doesn't have a taper, so that's a good thing. Let's try the other ring. This is a 15. Nope, doesn't fit. So 15 doesn't fit, so 14. So if it's a 14 fits, that means it's just like the other one. Ooh, oh, oh man, that's a tight fit. That was a tight fit. Actually, I had to kind of like push it in a little bit. Let's try a 13. So this one is a little bit tighter than the previous one. Yeah, this one's tighter than the previous one. Even the 13 is still kind of a tight fit as well. I had to kind of push it a little bit. So it tells me it's actually smaller. The gap is smaller. I can't remember because I can't remember the spec on size difference. Okay, so it's a 12. This one was what, a 14? That one's a 12. So this one's a little bit tighter. I need to remember that. So that's a 12, that's a 14. I need to mark that down. So that's, checking the ring gap on there. Should even check the ring gap on here too. This is the bottom ring. I should, do this and put a. Wow, that feels tight. You shouldn't feel that tight. It should be. It should have like a thousandth of an inch here, but it doesn't. That feels tight right there. I don't like that. Let's try the top ring. Let's see. Let me get my thousandth out. Should be a thousandth, no more than 2,000ths, I don't think. The smallest one I have is 2,000ths. 0025, 002. That's it. I don't have anything smaller than that. So let me try this 002. So 2,000ths of an inch. Oops. That does not fit. Nope, that doesn't fit. So that's a very tight fit, because this ring set came with this piston, so it shouldn't be that snug. There should be a little bit of movement, but there's not. Let me try a different spot. So it should be no more than 2,000ths, but it's not. It's definitely tighter than 2,000ths. And obviously I don't have a 1,000, so I don't know. We're just wiggling it. I don't feel any play whatsoever. But it did slide in really smooth though. There's no, when I slide it in, there's not really any resistance. It's like a perfect. It's like perfect. So it might be less than 1,000th even. It might be only 1/10,000th on that. So that's the top ring, bottom ring. This one I feel just very, as I'm moving it in and out, I could kind of feel it a little bit. So this one's actually even a tighter fit. The other one I didn't, at least I didn't feel I didn't feel when I put it in and out, I didn't feel the two touching at all. It was like perfectly against each other. This one I can actually feel a little bit of touching, but that feels kind of like the grease. It feels kind of sticky, kind of tacky, so that's the grease. So that's the engine break-in lube, because it's kind of greasy. Okay, so that's definitely tighter than I would want it to be, but then, you know, there's nothing you can do about that. All right, so that's checking the pistons. That was, you know, that was a pretty long video, but you know, that's what you gotta do. Yeah. All right. So thanks for watching that part.